Welcome. Let's explore this powerful biblical story and uncover the timeless lessons it holds. Was Pharaoh's downfall written in stone or shaped by fear? Discover the perilous price of power in this gripping biblical breakdown. Power has a way of testing the human soul. The story of Moses in the book of Exodus is more than a historical account. It's a warning, a mirror, and a call to choose humility over pride. The title Pharaoh's Fear, the perilous price of power, captures the tension between two forces: a ruler clinging to control and a prophet called to lead a people to freedom. At its heart, this is a story about what happens when fear governs leadership. Historical background. The book of Exodus opens with a sobering reality. The Israelites, once honored guests in Egypt during Joseph's time, have become enslaved for generations. A new Pharaoh ascends to power, one who did not know Joseph, and views the growing Hebrew population not with gratitude, but with suspicion and fear. Concerned they might rise up or ally with Egypt's enemies, Pharaoh responds with cruelty. He imposes forced labor, subjects them to harsh oppression, and issues a chilling decree that every newborn Hebrew boy must be killed. It is in this climate of fear and violence that Moses is born. His mother, defying the edict, hides him for as long as she can before placing him in a basket on the Nile. Miraculously, he is discovered and adopted by Pharaoh's own daughter, raised in the palace of the very regime that sought his destruction. Yet Moses is not destined to remain silent. God calls him to confront Pharaoh, not merely as a political act, but as a spiritual mission. With divine authority, Moses delivers a message that echoes through history: "Let my people go." Pharaoh's heart, hardened by pride and fear, refuses to yield. What follows is a dramatic series of plagues, each one a sign of God's power and a challenge to Egypt's gods and Pharaoh's authority. The struggle culminates in the liberation of the Israelites, marking the beginning of their journey toward covenant and identity as God's chosen people. Metaphorical meaning. Pharaoh represents more than an ancient king. He symbolizes the human tendency to grip power even when it destroys us. His fear wasn't fear of God, it was fear of losing control, of change, of being outnumbered or overthrown. That fear became his master. Moses, by contrast, shows what it means to stand in obedience to a higher calling, even when it's risky. The plagues can be seen as the natural and divine consequences of stubbornness, while the Exodus itself becomes a metaphor for liberation from whatever enslaves us: addictions, unhealthy relationships, or systems of injustice. Relevance in today's modern life. The story speaks loudly in a world where leaders and ordinary people alike can be tempted to cling to influence, wealth, or status at all costs. Pharaoh's downfall reminds us that when power is driven by fear, it leads to oppression and ruin, not only for others, but for ourselves. We see modern pharaohs in corrupt politics, exploitative corporations, or even in personal dynamics where one person controls another. And we all have a choice: to live like Pharaoh, hardening our hearts, or like Moses, listening for the voice of God and acting with courage. Personal reflections and prayer. As I read through Exodus, I'm deeply moved by the realization that I often play the role of Pharaoh in my own life, clinging stubbornly to habits, grudges, or personal plans that I know I should surrender to God. It's sobering to see how pride and fear can harden the heart, just as they did with Pharaoh. So I pray for the humility to release what no longer serves God's purpose in me before my heart grows resistant to His voice. I ask for the courage to speak truth to power, as Moses did, trusting not in my own strength but in the presence and promises of God. I also lift up today's leaders. May they be guided by justice rather than control, and compassion rather than pride. Let their decisions reflect the heart of God, not the fear of losing influence. May we all learn to lead and live with open hands and softened hearts, ready to follow wherever God calls. If this spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who needs encouragement or a challenge. Like this post, subscribe for more faith-centered insights, and leave a comment below. What's your Pharaoh, and how is God calling you to step into freedom? Let's keep the conversation going, because every time we share light, we push back the darkness.